In a vast galaxy filled with strange and wonderful beings, the Galactic Council held a powerful position. For 3,000 years, humans on Earth and aliens in the Council lived in peace. They traded goods, shared knowledge, and celebrated their differences. Many believed that this peace would last forever, but deep within the Council, a dark shadow began to form. One sunny day on Earth, a human diplomat named Alex stood before a group of alien leaders. They were meeting to discuss trade agreements that would benefit both humans and aliens. Alex was confident and excited, thinking about how their partnership could grow. But during the meeting, a minor accident happened. Alex's drink spilled, and a few drops splashed onto an alien's shiny suit. The alien's eyes widened in shock, and an uncomfortable silence filled the room. This small incident quickly spiraled out of control. Some council members whispered that it was a sign of human disrespect. They argued that humans were unpredictable and dangerous. A rumor began to spread that the humans were not to be trusted, even after centuries of peace. In a dark chamber deep within the council's headquarters, a group of alien leaders gathered for a secret meeting. The room was dimly lit and tension hung thick in the air. The leader of the meeting, a tall, scaly alien named Zarnok, spoke with a fierce voice. "We cannot ignore the threat humans pose. They are capable of violence. We must act before it is too late." Another alien, a wise and elderly creature named Eldara, tried to calm the group. "We must remember our history. We have lived in peace with humans for thousands of years. One small mistake should not ruin everything." But Zarnok and his followers were not convinced. They believed that humans were becoming a danger, and they needed to prepare for war. The discussions grew heated. Some council members passionately defended humans while others insisted on taking action. The council was divided, and the fear of the unknown began to overshadow the friendships they had built. As the days passed, rumors of the Council's growing fear spread across the galaxy. News reached Earth, but most humans could not believe it. How could the Galactic Council, which had celebrated humanity for so long, suddenly turn against them? They brushed it off as mere gossip, thinking the Council would not dare to declare war. But behind closed doors, the Council was already planning their next move. They held a meeting to discuss whether to issue a warning to humans or prepare for an attack. Zarnok pushed for immediate action, saying, "If we wait too long, we risk a human uprising. We must show strength." As discussions continued, tension grew in the council chambers. Each alien species had its own perspective, and emotions ran high. The council members faced a crucial decision that would change the course of history. On Earth, humans began to feel the tension as well. News channels reported strange sightings of alien ships near Earth's borders. Leaders gathered to discuss the situation, worried about what the Council's fears could mean for their future. "Are we really in danger?" asked President Maria, a strong leader known for her calm demeanor. "We have always been friends with the Council. We can't let fear dictate our actions." But doubts crept into the hearts of many. Some believed that the Galactic Council was losing trust in humanity. As military experts gathered to assess the situation, they recognized that they must prepare for any possible conflict. They began to strategize, sharing ideas on how to defend Earth if the Council decided to attack. Back in the Council chambers, the vote approached. Members were anxious, each holding on to their own beliefs about humanity. Would they choose peace, or would they succumb to their fears? Zarnok's fiery speeches swayed many, pushing them toward a declaration of war. As the moment of truth neared, the entire galaxy held its breath. The Galactic Council had a choice to make. Would they embrace their long-standing friendship with humans, or would they let fear lead them down a path of destruction? The stakes were high, and the fate of countless lives hung in the balance. Little did they know that this decision would spark a chain of events that would change everything. The Council's fear was just the beginning, and the echoes of their choices would be felt across the stars. The day had finally come for the Galactic Council to make a decision. Representatives from different alien species filled the grand chamber, their voices buzzing with tension. The large room, with its shining walls and floating holograms, seemed to pulse with anxiety. Today, they would vote on whether to declare war on humans. Zarnok stood at the front, his scales shimmering under the bright lights. He had worked hard to rally support for the war, and now he felt confident. "We must act now," he declared, his voice echoing. "If we don't strike first, we may be the ones who suffer. Humans are unpredictable and dangerous." A murmur of agreement swept through the crowd, but not everyone was convinced. Eldara, the wise elder, rose to speak. We have enjoyed peace for thousands of years. One small mistake should not ruin our relationship. Humans are our allies, not our enemies. Her calm demeanor and gentle voice carried weight. But the fear in the room was palpable. The council members exchanged glances. Some were swayed by Eldara's words, but others were still haunted by their fears. Zarnok seized the moment. If we let this opportunity slip, we risk our safety. We cannot let fear guide us. We must show strength. His fiery passion ignited more support for the war. The council members began to argue, voices rising in a cacophony of opinions. Some argued for diplomacy, while others pushed for action. As the debate raged on, tension filled the air. The decision was far from clear and time was running out. Finally, the council president called for a vote. We will decide whether to declare war on humans, she announced. The room fell silent as each member prepared to cast their vote. Would they choose to embrace peace, or would they give in to their fears? One by one, the votes were counted. Zarnok watched eagerly, his heart pounding in his chest. As the final vote was tallied, the council president announced the result. The majority has voted for war. We will declare war on humans! Shockwaves rippled through the room. Some members cheered, while others sat in stunned silence. The decision marked a dark turning point for the council. Zarnok's eyes gleamed with triumph, but Eldara looked on with sadness. She knew this decision could bring destruction to both sides. News of the council's decision spread quickly across the galaxy, reaching Earth in a matter of hours. The broadcast showed the council's announcement, and disbelief swept across humanity. Families gathered around their screens, jaws dropped in shock. How could their allies turn against them? President Maria held an emergency meeting with her advisors. This cannot be happening, she said. Disbelief etched on her face. We have always worked together for peace. But her advisors exchanged worried glances. They understood the council's fear, but they could not accept war. As the days passed, tension built. Humans began to prepare for the possibility of war. Factories shifted into high gear, producing weapons and technology at a rapid pace. Citizens united, rallying to defend their planet. They organized training programs for soldiers and gathered supplies, determined to protect their homes. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council met to discuss their war strategy. Zarnok proposed an immediate attack, believing that a show of force would instill fear in humans. We must strike quickly and decisively, he urged. But Eldara and her supporters pushed back. If we attack, we risk losing everything we've built with humans. We should give them a chance to respond first. Despite the tension, Zarnok's plan gained traction. The council voted to send a fleet to Earth, ready for a show of force. The decision sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. It was a stark reminder that fear could overshadow even the strongest alliances. On Earth, news of the impending attack spread like wildfire. Panic set in, but so did determination. People from all walks of life came together to support the military. Families sent letters to soldiers, sharing words of encouragement. "We will not back down!" became a rallying cry echoing through cities. As preparations continued, both sides braced for the conflict that was about to unfold. The Galactic Council had declared war, and the humans were ready to fight back. But in the hearts of many, a lingering hope remained, hope that peace could still be achieved. As the countdown to the first battle began, everyone in the galaxy held their breath. Would this war destroy their bonds forever, or could they find a way to end the fighting before it truly began? The answer remained uncertain, but the tension in the air hinted at a storm about to break. As news of the Galactic Council's declaration of war reached Earth, a wave of shock and disbelief swept across the planet. However, amidst the fear and uncertainty, humans began to rally together. They understood that they had to prepare for battle to defend their home. President Maria called for an emergency meeting with military leaders, scientists, and advisors. The room was filled with tension as everyone gathered to discuss their next steps. "We need a plan," Maria stated firmly. "If the council is coming for us, we have to show them we are ready to fight back." General Rodriguez, a respected leader in the military, stood up. "We must first gather intelligence on the council's fleet. We need to know what we're up against." The room nodded in agreement. They quickly established a task force to monitor alien movements near Earth, using satellites and advanced technology to track their every move. Meanwhile, scientists across the globe worked day and night to enhance humanity's defense capabilities. They upgraded existing technology and developed new weapons. Many young engineers and inventors volunteered to help. Among them was a brilliant young woman named Lisa, who was known for her innovative designs. She proposed a new kind of energy shield that could protect cities from alien attacks. "If we can create a strong enough shield, we can defend our most important locations," she said excitedly. As the military focused on strategies, cities began to prepare for the worst. People filled warehouses with supplies, food, and medical equipment. Neighborhoods organized community groups, making plans to help one another in case of an attack. Everywhere, the spirit of unity grew stronger. The rallying cry of "We will not back down" echoed in the streets, creating a sense of determination among the people. While humanity united, there were whispers among some alien factions in the Galactic Council. Not all aliens agreed with Zarnok's aggressive approach. A group of sympathetic aliens who had long admired humans decided to act. They believed that the Council's fears were unfounded and that war would only bring destruction to both sides. Among these aliens was a young diplomat named Kayla. She had often visited Earth and formed friendships with humans. Disheartened by the Council's decision, Kayla reached out to Earth's leaders through a secret communication channel. "We want to help you," she wrote. "Not all of us agree with the war. We have information that can aid you in this conflict." Maria received the message with cautious optimism. She arranged a meeting with Kayla, who risked everything to come to Earth. As they met in a secure location, Kayla explained the internal struggles within the Council. "Many of us see humans as allies, not enemies. If you can show strength without resorting to violence, we might be able to change the Council's mind." With this newfound information, President Maria knew they had to act wisely. "We need to prepare for battle, but we also need to keep the door open for peace," she stated. The military strategists began to devise a plan that would showcase humanity's strength while allowing room for diplomacy. As the days turned into weeks, both sides gathered their forces. The Galactic Council prepared a massive fleet to send to Earth, determined to display their power. Zarnok was confident that a show of force would intimidate humans into submission. He believed that fear would win the day. Back on Earth, the military ran drills, training soldiers for various scenarios. They practiced everything from ground battles to air defense. General Rodriguez inspired his troops with passionate speeches, urging them to protect their home at all costs. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for our families and future," he shouted. The soldiers cheered, their spirits high and ready for the challenge ahead. As tension mounted, the media played a crucial role in shaping public opinion. News stations reported updates from both sides, broadcasting human efforts to prepare for the war. They showcased stories of bravery and resilience, helping to unite the population even further. The world watched, holding its breath for the coming storm. With both sides preparing for the inevitable clash, the galaxy stood on the brink of a conflict that would define their futures. The Council's warship fleet loomed near the edges of Earth's atmosphere, and humanity fortified itself for battle. The stage was set for an epic showdown, but the question remained, could either side find a way to avoid the impending disaster? The clock was ticking, and soon they would have to face each other. The day had finally arrived. The tension that had been building for weeks exploded as the Galactic Council's fleet entered Earth's atmosphere. Massive warships, shining and imposing, floated like ominous clouds against the blue sky. From the ground, humans watched in fear and awe, their hearts racing as they prepared for the worst. President Maria stood on the balcony of her office, gazing at the ships with a heavy heart. She had hoped for peace, but now it seemed inevitable that war would come. "We must stand strong," she told her advisors who surrounded her. "Our people are counting on us." Meanwhile, General Rodriguez led the troops at the military base. He addressed the soldiers, who stood in neat rows, their uniforms crisp and their faces set with determination. "Today we show the Galactic Council that humanity will not back down," he yelled. The soldiers responded with a loud cheer, their spirits high despite the uncertainty ahead. As the alien ships descended closer, the air was filled with a tense silence. Suddenly, alarms blared across the military base. "They're deploying!" a voice shouted. Everyone sprang into action. Jets roared to life as pilots climbed into their cockpits, ready to defend their planet. Ground forces took their positions, weapons at the ready. The first clash came swiftly. Zarnok, aboard the flagship of the Council, watched as the humans scrambled to respond. He was confident in the Council's superiority, believing that a quick strike would crush any resistance. "Prepare to fire!" he commanded, his voice booming through the ship. The crew moved with precision, and moments later, bright beams of energy shot from the alien ships toward Earth. The first shots struck the military base, causing explosions that rocked the ground. Smoke and debris filled the air as soldiers fought to regroup. General Rodriguez barked orders, directing his troops to take cover and return fire. "Aim for their engines," he shouted. The soldiers nodded, focusing their fire on the alien ships that hovered above them. As the humans fought back, the sky became a chaotic battleground. Jets zipped through the air, dodging enemy fire as they launched missiles at the massive ships. The sound of explosions filled the air, mixing with the cries of soldiers and the roar of engines. Humanity was determined to show that they would not be easily defeated. In the midst of the chaos, Lisa, the young inventor, monitored the battle from the command center. Her heart raced as she watched the screen display the unfolding conflict. "We need to activate the energy shields," she called out to her colleagues. They quickly worked to power up the new technology, hoping it would provide some protection against the onslaught. As the shields activated, a faint glow surrounded the military base. The first wave of energy beams from the alien ships struck the shields, and for a moment, it seemed like the humans might hold their ground. The shields flickered but held strong, allowing the soldiers to regroup and counterattack. Back in the sky, the battle raged on. The pilots of the jets maneuvered skillfully, launching missiles at the alien fleet. One by one, explosions erupted around the enemy ships. The humans fought with fierce determination, knowing that the fate of their planet rested on their shoulders. But the Council's fleet was not to be underestimated. Zarnok ordered reinforcements to deploy from the flagship, adding more firepower to the assault. "Press the attack," he commanded. His confidence surged as he saw the destruction unfolding below. The battle escalated as the Council's ships continued to bombard the military base. Soldiers fought bravely, but the odds were stacked against them. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Lisa's team activated the energy shields fully. A bright light surged from the base, forming a protective barrier that absorbed the incoming attacks. The unexpected strength of the shield surprised the Council's forces. "What is this?" Zarnok shouted, frustrated. "They are stronger than we anticipated." He quickly ordered his ships to focus their fire on the shield's generator, realizing that destroying it could turn the tide of the battle. As the conflict raged on, the humans stood firm. They were fighting for their families, their homes, and their future. The determination in their hearts fueled their bravery, and as they pressed on, they knew that this was only the beginning of a long and challenging fight. The clash between the Galactic Council and humanity had only just started, and the outcome remained uncertain. But one thing was clear: humanity was not ready to surrender. They would fight for every inch of their planet, determined to prove that they were not to be underestimated. The first clash would be a defining moment, and both sides would remember it for years to come. The battle continued to rage above Earth as the Galactic Council's fleet unleashed wave after wave of attacks on humanity's defenses. Smoke filled the air, and explosions echoed through the once peaceful sky. President Maria watched the unfolding chaos from her command center, her heart heavy with worry for her people. But deep inside her, a flicker of hope remained. They had survived the initial onslaught. Now they needed to turn the tide. Meanwhile, General Rodriguez was rallying his troops. "We have held our ground this far, but we must do more," he urged. "We need a plan to strike back." Soldiers nodded, their faces grim but resolute. They were exhausted, but the spirit of humanity burned brightly within them. Just then, Lisa burst into the command center, her face flushed with excitement. "I have an idea! If we can get close enough to one of their ships, we can use a powerful EMP blast to disable their systems." She explained how the EMP could disrupt the enemy's technology, giving humanity a chance to attack. The room buzzed with renewed energy as the leaders discussed the risky plan. General Rodriguez saw the potential in Lisa's idea. "It's dangerous, but it might be our best shot. We need a team to carry out this mission." "Who's with me?" A brave group of soldiers stepped forward, ready to fight. Among them was Jake, a skilled pilot who had already proven himself in previous battles. "I'll take my jet close to one of their ships and deliver the EMP, he declared. "We can do this!" With their plan in place, the team set out. They boarded their jets, and a sense of determination filled the air. As they took off, the sight of the alien fleet looming overhead fueled their resolve. The soldiers flew towards the enemy ships, hearts pounding in unison. As they approached the Council's flagship, Zarnok remained confident. They cannot possibly penetrate our defenses, he thought, dismissing the humans as mere nuisances. However, he was unaware of the bold plan unfolding just below him. Jake maneuvered his jet expertly, weaving through enemy fire as his teammates provided cover. "Stay close! We need to reach the flagship!" he shouted, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The alien ships shot at them, but the humans were focused. They dodged and dipped, avoiding the energy beams that lit up the sky. Finally, they reached the flagship. Jake activated the EMP device, preparing for the moment of truth. "I'm going in!" he yelled. He aimed his jet straight for the heart of the enemy ship. Just as he approached, a blast of energy struck his wing, sending his jet into a spin. "Jake, are you okay?" his team called out, panic rising in their voices. "I'm fine, just a little bumpy," he replied, gritting his teeth. With sheer willpower, he regained control of his jet and pressed forward. He aimed for the flagship's main generator, where the EMP would have the most impact. In a flash, he hit the button. The EMP blast surged from his jet, engulfing the flagship in a wave of electromagnetic energy. The impact was immediate. Lights flickered, systems failed, and Zarnok's ship fell into chaos. "What is happening?" Zarnok shouted, struggling to maintain control. His crew scrambled to restore systems, but the damage was done. The flagship was vulnerable. Back on Earth, the command center erupted in cheers. "It worked! We've disabled their flagship!" Maria exclaimed, her heart soaring with hope. "Now's our chance to strike!" General Rodriguez quickly ordered the remaining forces to focus their attacks on the disabled flagship. Jets swooped in, unleashing a barrage of missiles. The alien ships, now disoriented and disorganized, struggled to regroup. With their flagship crippled, the Council's morale began to falter. Many aliens questioned the wisdom of their war against humanity. The tide of battle had shifted, and now humanity was on the offensive. As the conflict intensified, a wave of determination spread among the human soldiers. They fought with renewed vigor, inspired by Jake's daring mission. They pushed forward, taking advantage of the confusion among the enemy ranks. Zarnok realized that the humans were fighting back with everything they had. Panic set in among the Council leaders. "We underestimated them!" Zarnok shouted, anger and fear flooding his voice. "We must retreat!" As the Council's fleet began to pull back, humanity felt a surge of triumph. They had not only survived, but were now winning. The first major battle had ended, but it was a turning point, a moment that would be remembered in history. Back on Earth, people celebrated the victory, knowing that they had fought bravely against impossible odds. They proved that they could defend their home. But as they rejoiced, they understood that the war was far from over. The Council would regroup, and the fight for their future was just beginning. Humanity had found its strength, and with it, a new hope for survival.